Over the years, my frustration has been, so many people that have learned about eating healthfully with serious medical conditions, yet would call me up from the emergency room or from the ICU and say, oh, I had a heart attack. I know you told me what to do and I just couldn't do it. And I'd say, why didn't you do it? I said you were going to have a heart attack if you didn't do it. Why did you want to have a heart attack? And I realized that, and so many people who who failed from who know information and still can't do it, and obviously it takes people time to change and time to get rid of addictions. And that's why people go away into these drug rehab centers for 3 months, because it decreases the chance for recidivism if they're away from their cocaine for a while. And you don't all have to come to my retreat in San Diego and stay with me 3 months, but you have to create your own home environment that's favorable, like you went to a retreat. And you have to really live this way to give your taste buds a chance to change, to give your brain to come back to normal, to give you a chance to get rid of your addictive cravings, to get your life and health back. You have to put in the effort and the work. And the point I'm telling you this, you can't baby step your way there and have one foot in both worlds and say, okay, I'll eat this way most of the time, but on weekends I'll go out to the bars and get drunk. Well, if you're an alcoholic and you're going to the bars on the weekend, the little bit of alcohol is going to make you want to have more alcohol. And the same thing's true if you're overweight and not succeeding with your health, achieving your health parameters. You're not going to succeed when you keep dabbling between both worlds. The cheat diet, the baby stepping into this, doesn't really work. Everybody wants to tell you to baby step your way to good health. But unfortunately, it doesn't work that well. What works the best is when you jump in with both feet and you do this aggressively, and you do the radical version that gives you the full protection. Because then you learn to like it more, and you learn to like it earlier in the process, and you start to lose your attraction for those things you were craving. And you really start to feel better, and you see the miraculous results, then the real magic happens. So be mindful, more mindful about your life and about the way you eat. Pause and think before acting. Step back and consider the consequences. When somebody responds now to you in some aggressive or threatening way and say, what are you eating like that for? Where are you getting your protein anyway? Why would you want to eat like that, even if you could live a year or two longer? Who would want to even eat that way anyway and live that way? Don't just jump to argue back. Make sure you take your time to think about what the best way to react is. Don't have to react to negative input or insult. You don't protect your own ego with it. Think about everything that goes in your mouth. Is everything you put in your mouth in your best interest? Why not live in your own best interest? Loving yourself and caring for yourself rightly means eating the best foods available and taking great care of your health, because then you could achieve what you want to achieve in your life. Then you can really be the happiest version of yourself possible. But making the change and getting rid of addiction takes determination. I call this the mindset of a champion, because every person that learns about this doesn't do it. And I'm trying to encourage you to do it, obviously. And when I think of a person doing it, we think of, you took the initiative. Obviously, you guys are learned people. You came here, you devoted yourself to get here. Even some of you who haven't read my books and don't know much about this, you took some reason what got you here, that you want to learn all this in-depth information about nutrition, about eating. It's so important. It should be reading, writing, arithmetic, and nutritional science taught in elementary schools. It shouldn't be doctors that learn about nutrition. Everybody should be learning about it. It's the most powerful thing to affect your life. And it makes me think about this attitude, the mindset of a champion to get rid of addiction. It makes me think about Roger Federer, the tennis player. You know why I think about him? When I used to watch my daughter take tennis lessons, they used to watch Roger Federer in slow motion on his swing and things. And he'd bring his racket back, and the top of his racket wouldn't dip. It would stay at that exactly same level of height coming back. Perfectly. And when we get to the back, it would be 180 degrees. Not 185, not 175. It would be right at 180 degrees from where the ball's coming in. And then when it dipped, it came down right to the point where his arms straightened at that level when he lined up the ball. And his arms straightened out and didn't bend till it got to his chin. And his belly button, with like a laser painted, went right to the aiming spot on the court when he turned, as his weight shifted off his back leg. And his elbow only bent when it came above his chin. And it was like perfect in slow motion. And by the way, his head stayed focused on the ball. Even when the racket passed and the ball is gone, his head stayed not moving up and down or shifting left to right, but stayed still right at the ball contact point. Boom. He didn't turn his head to look until the ball was like 30 feet, or halfway to the net practically. His backhand was the same way. What I'm saying is his body was in such perfect positioning all the time, even when he's running and shuffling, getting in shape, that meant when he was young and he was a little kid, he had this coach that paid such attention to detail, to get every part of his body in the right position, right? And he couldn't care about winning or losing a tennis match, because no way he could develop such perfect technique with the body being in all these perfect positions if he was worrying about running around trying to win. He had to be focused on style and performance and best technique. And then as he got older, he started winning because he got this perfect technique. So it took a tremendous determination as a young child to be able to take coaching and to allow the coach to train him to get such perfect, because you don't just get that naturally. Almost every other person is doing some other thing wrong, and he's got this perfect technique. So what I'm saying is, it's hard at the beginning. You don't always see the benefits at the very beginning, but you still got to do it right. You're determined. You have to repeat the right things over and over again. That's why we feed people this big salad with a nut and seed-based dressing and a bowl of soup and a piece of fruit. We want them to repeat the same lunch style every day, the big salad. And you have to persevere at the right course of action. You have to continue to do it so it becomes natural. And you have the right attitude. A champion's prepared to work for results over time, months and years. Yourself often doesn't make you feel better or get better the first week or two you do it. As a matter of fact, it may even feel worse the first week or two you do this, right? Because you're detoxing more. You're not always going to feel better at the beginning. It might feel worse. So again, the Nutritarian versus the standard diet. We went over this. We looked at the pyramid already, right? The Nutritarian diet is vegetable-based, not grain-based. It's lots of fruits and beans and seeds and nuts, vegetable, and not dairy and meat. It's got no oils as opposed to oil being a major caloric load. The animal products are either zero to very limited, whereas animal products become a whole standard part of the diet for people on a conventional diet. And of course, we're based on nutrient-dense calories. That means we're trying to focus on foods that offer the most protection against cancer, slowing of the aging process and promoting of longer lifespan, with nutrient-dense calories and nutritional diversity and variety, which is achievable now more than ever before in human history. So when you first start out doing this, you're going to feel ill after healthy eating. Moving from an American diet, it's not going to make you feel better. It's going to make you feel worse when you do this. And then when you do it a while, you're going to start to feel better, but you're not going to lose your emotional attraction to junk food and processed foods and all these things. You're not going to not desire those foods. You have to do this longer. It takes maybe 4 to 6 months to be able to feel true hunger in your throat when you're a brown belt. And when you're a black belt, then you're eating mostly when you're feeling hungry frequently. You really enjoy eating this way the most. This is the way you prefer to eat. This is the way you feel like eating. This is the way you enjoy eating the most. You couldn't get 10 men to tie me down to a chair to force me to eat the junk people put in their body, to go to eat that stuff people eat in fast food restaurants. It's funny because you've eaten this diet for a year now, let's say, and you've lost 100 pounds, and you're feeling great, you have and you like the food, and you dislike salt and heavy spices, but you figure it's your birthday. It's not going to hurt to go out and have a restaurant meal and have some barbecued ribs and cheesecake a la mode or whatever one night. But you know what? You're thinking you may have liked this because you had this memory of liking those foods, but you taste it and go, it's like it's so salty and heavily flavored, and your taste buds have changed so much that even though you thought you might have liked it, you realize you don't even like it anymore. The thing you thought you were missing that you would have liked, you realize doesn't really thrill you anymore. And if you ate it, you're going to feel sick and crampy and have diarrhea all night long, and have drinking water the whole night long. If you haven't sleep every hour, you're so thirsty from all the salt in it. Then you go to have that ice cream, the conventional ice cream, that's too sweet. You prefer your real banana and ice cream made with frozen bananas, macadamia nuts, and a little real vanilla bean powder is sweet enough for you. This tastes like a pure sugar ball. And then you can taste the bleach in it and the chemicals that they use to clean the machines. You can taste it. In other words, you think you might even like that food, and you realize, wow, I'm not even missing this because I don't even like this anymore. I really realize I like the foods that I like now. And I'm saying this too to make you understand this concept that at the beginning when you're not healthy, you're going to feel worse when you eat so healthfully for a while, as your body detoxes and repairs and lets the inflammation run its course to clean out its tissues. Inflammation is a right-directed action which helps you heal and reconstitute tissues to normal. You allow the body to heal itself. And then once you're really healthy, you're like a child who gets a virus and gets a fever to 102 or 103. The healthier you are, the more violent you react against toxins. And now you're going to eat something that's unhealthy. You're going to feel so sick right away that the person who's really unhealthy can eat all kinds of unhealthy things. They can have a hot dog eating contest and they can eat like 20 hot dogs in a row, but that's okay because they're so unhealthy. You eat one bite of a hot dog and you're sick. The closer you are to death, the more you can tolerate toxins. You know, when you smoke cigarettes, when the stepping stone goes from chronic inflammation to induration, to ulceration, to it's a stepping stone of developing the ability to be able to not respond to toxins that make you develop cancer. The person eating unhealthily doesn't necessarily feel so bad from their unhealthy diet. But that's not good, that's bad, because now they're tolerating the cocaine. They're not feeling it because their body built up tolerance to it. It means your body is not reacting against the toxic load in your body. It's just accepting the toxins' ability to build up and eventually cause cancer. Part of this information came from my book, Fast Food Genocide, where I talk about a lot of the dangers of fast food and how it affects the body and the brain. And of course, goes into some of the historical effects of how it accelerates racism and violence in America of our fast food, including diets in the past. That's a picture of the backyard of my retreat in San Diego. A lot of people, obviously, with food addiction need to be in a safe environment for a few months even. You can't just go away to a health retreat for a week or 2 or 3, because it really takes time for people to change the way they eat and learn how to do it and change the way they think and develop different food preferences, because then the longer they stay, the more increased chance of recidivism. So it was my dream to have a place where people who really were not able to succeed on their own could then come and make sure they can succeed. And I think I get a lot of excitement about watching people transform their health. It's my most strongest passion and pleasures in life is watching people transform their health from ill health to great health again, and them able to be set free from the chronic medical conditions they had. And that's what I get a lot of enjoyment from. But I also get a lot of enjoyment from growing food and planting and eating food off the ground or from your own trees. I get some kind of pleasure from saying, hey, wow, taste this mango. I grew it on my own tree. It's like, wow, isn't that cool? You actually grew it yourself. I think there's something inherent in people, because I know I feel it in me, about something really good about it. I go into the walking in the woods and I find some wild artichoke or wild prickly pear on a cactus and I take it home with me and I eat it and I picked it from the woods or something. There's something really cool about getting food right from nature. You know what I mean? So I'm having a lot of fun with that. All right, we're done.